to all the humanity, which is seeking for peace and prosperity in the world, to my sisters and brothers from Africa, to my compatriots, in Algeria. In Algeria, my greetings from Cornwall in Ontario, Canada. Why the King of France and its African colonies, the President Emmanuel Macron, is looking for destroying Algeria and North Africa. It's the topic of my speech. Before tackling this Machiavellic target of the President of France, the King of France and its French African colonies, Emmanuel Macron. Let's get started with what is happening in Algeria now, right now. First of all, the human rights are massively destroyed. The Algerian nation, even if without its dignity, its patriotism, Algeria would be in the same disaster as Sudan, as Chad, as Mali, as Syria, as maybe other countries, like Ivory Coast, like Egypt. Without this dignity, Algeria would be a bloody earth. By the past, I had qualified the Algerian state, the Moroccan state, and the Tunisian state. I speak about the states. I had qualified them as among the top 10 most stupid states in the world. Today, I will add, especially Mali, Niger, Chad, and Burkina Faso, among the most stupid, silly, idiot states in the world. We have all the North African countries, especially Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Chad. Since January, at the beginning of February, the King of France and its African colonies, the President Emmanuel Macron of France, is the leader of the European Council. Now, after having humiliated Algeria when he was during the electoral period for his mandate in France, after having humiliated through the Algerian presidency, through the military staff, through the government, the Algerian revolution, now he is aiming to destroy it by escalating the war between Algeria, Mali, and Niger. Why the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, the King of France and its African colonies? Because until now, all the French African colonies are at his feet. with, I say, the African colonies, because Algeria wasn't an African colony. It was more than this. It was a French department, which means it was an inner land of France. Before, before going on some parameters, some characteristics of this of this destruction, mass destruction by Emmanuel Macron of the Africa of the North Africa of North Africa, I have to remind to the all the humanity that Algeria is the cradle of the best gift to the humanity, which was its revolution. But by our responsibility, by our failure, the failure of the Algerian nation to make a nice, peaceful jump in the prosperity by settling a state which is respectful of the human rights, by settling a state which will lead it to more prosperity, to more development, to more democracy, to more freedom. We are staying in silence. Why be silent? It's natural. We are afraid by the dictatorship regime in Algeria, which is led by the military staff. Now, after the coup d'etat, the last one in Algeria, which consequence is the current president of the republic, which is the current chief of military of staff, which is the most stupid, the most idiot, the most anti-patriotic military of staff, chief of the military staff in Algeria. Because the Algerian people, and it's natural to be afraid by its violence. But Algeria is giving a lesson to the whole humanity by staying peaceful, by resisting to this economic and social disaster. But the Algerian nation is failing in handling its anthropological side, its identity side, its Amazighi. Of course, I am proud. I am also sad to say that Algeria is likely to become a broken earthenware, a broken jar. I'm sad, but I'm proud to say that the Algeria is one of the best jars in the world. What is the king of France and its African colonies, the President Emmanuel Macron, is doing right now? Of course, I cannot dig with all his Machiavellic actions. I cannot dig with all his Machiavellic actions. He is burning North Africa. Why he is doing this? Because he wants to win a second mandate, first. Second, because he is ambitious. Third, he is begging the United States of America to forgive him his stupidity. His words about the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which was qualified by Emmanuel Macron as in the brain death, cerebral death. He is begging the United States to forgive him. That's why he is looking, he is doing his best, what he can, as a president of a weak state. France is a weak state. France is never the country of the human rights. Now, Algeria, Mali, Niger are in a war because they are stupid, they are idiots, because they are silly. Why this silliness, this idiotism? Why this stupidity? Because the leaders of the presupposed leaders of these states are weak, are unable to understand anything in the international relations spectrum. They are unable to implement any cooperation movement based on the legitimacy, based on democracy, based on human rights, based on freedom, based on the African conscience, which is freedom. The current president of France, the current king of France and its French African colonies, has completely transformed the French nations, with which the African nations can build relations, nice, peaceful, and cooperative relations as those between the American nation and the Japanese nation, as those between the American nation and the German nation. Because of the dictatorship of Emmanuel Macron in France, he has transformed the nice part of the French nation to a close-minded one. Of course, I have to repeat it. I have to repeat it. The Algerian state is a failed one, is a wrecked one. Now he is under the submission of fully is fully dominated by Emmanuel Macron. Yes, of course. The Algerian nation has to be proud of keeping the state on its feet, with keeping its state still working, even if it is in a disaster, catastrophic one way. This last week, a blast had destroyed a hospital in Béjaïa. No reaction of this person who is considering herself as the president. No reaction of this person who is considering herself as the chief of as the prime minister. I cannot apologize to this very tough words that I'm saying, because the action of Hussein Ahmed, the actions of Hussein Ahmed are in my mind. The targets of Hussein Ahmed, which are peace, the respect of the human rights, which is the recovering of the fully anthropological side identity of Algeria, its Amazighi, are in my mind. Because also I remember the actions of his friend Ali Msiri, who was killed in France, who was murdered in France. As also I cannot forget the murder of Lounes Matoub and all the other Algerian patriots. Cannot forget them, but I cannot give all their names. Now, my heart, my thoughts are with the opinion prisoners. My heart, my thoughts are with their families. Are the international cooperation freedom? Are the international cooperation in the human rights become so weak? Yes. No state has expressed its compassionate thoughts with the Algerian, with the African nations who are suffering. Of course, it's sad to say that the United Nations organization is completely under blockade. Now, I have to dig deeper, a little bit deeper. The havoc, the disaster of the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, the King of France and its French and its African colonies, with some figures. Few years ago, the Zimbabwe country, the Zimbabwe nation, had struggled with hyperinflation. What was the solution? The solution is the changing of their money. Now Zimbabwe is using a new money, the Zimbabwean dollar, which is backed on the United States dollar. What is happening now? The hyperinflation is cured in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean nation is more peaceful. But what is happening in the French colony, the African colonies of France? I repeat it, Algeria wasn't a French colony. It was an inner land. It was a department. And Algeria is the heart of the freedom in Africa. But this side is completely forgotten. It's impossible for the Algerian foreign affairs, Algerian diplomacy, to fight for it, to recover it. Algeria was the Mecca of a revolution. Was a Mecca of a revolution. Now, today, just after their independences, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia had implemented their central banks. For the other African French colonies, they are victims now, until now, they are the victims of dispossessing crime. Dispossessing crime by France, by Emmanuel Macron, aggravated by Emmanuel Macron. All the natural resources are used in the benefit, exclusively benefit of France. All the monetary wealth of Mali, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso are used exclusively for the benefit of the well-being French nation. For this, France has implemented international interstate terrorist organizations in Africa. I repeat it. France has implemented international interstate terrorist organizations in Africa. Among all these terrorist organizations, we have the ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. It's the biggest official international interstate and terrorist organization in the world. The second one is the West African State Monetary Union. The two interstate organizations and terrorist organizations are in Africa. The West African Economic and Monetary Union and the West African Monetary Union, ECOWAS. And in French, we call them CEDEAO et l'UEMOA. In addition, we can add l'UMOA. Okay. I have just to read So, to give at a glance, an overview at a glance of some figures. Except Guinea-Bissau, all the following countries are are French colonies: Benin, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, Chad. If, with the last figures of the World Bank, if we add all the populations, their populations, we have 143 millions, 376 millions, and 397 people, inhabitants in all these countries. What about their GDP, gross domestic product? It's just 145 738,000 US dollars. Repeat. It's just 145 billions and 73 thousands of dollars, US dollars. In the average, the GDP per person per capita is just around 1,000 US dollars a year. And per day and per capita, it's just $2.7 a day. It's below the international poverty line. It's below. Why? Because they are using, first, the French language. Secondly, and it's more important than the language, the franc CFA money, currency. What is the value of the franc CFA value? One franc CFA equals 0.0015 euro. And equals 0.0017 dollar US. Simply said, the value of the franc CFA is better in US dollars. But if we compare it to the Zimbabwean dollar, which is back to the US dollar, it's almost the half value. The Zimbabwean dollar is quoted 0.0027, and the franc CFA is quoted 0.0017 US dollars. So, why Mali, Niger, Ivory, Benin, Chad, Burkina Faso, why are they waiting to peg their money to the US dollars and to quit it and to have, by the assistance of the United States of America, of China, the central banks, it's our action since 2014. It was our actions. It was our target since 2014. That's why I have qualified Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Mali, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso as in the top 10 most stupid countries in the world. One, for example, with the disastrous monetary policy of the Algerian state. Disastrous. It's a havoc. It's a criminal. It's a fascist. It's a Nazi one. One Algerian dinar is quoted 0.0071 dollar US, which equals 4 francs CFA. With a basic monetary cooperation, Mali and Niger and Chad and Burkina Faso will have the same money as Algeria, but in Mali, the leader of this policy, Modibo Keïta, was killed in jail. I cannot dig with the joint military committee of between Algeria, Mali, and Niger, especially these three countries, because it's more consistent topic, which is in itself a bombshell for the African, for North Africa. I don't want, because it's very serious. I will avoid to speak about the United Nations missions in Mali, because it's an instrument between the hands of Emmanuel Macron, the King of France, and its African colonies. The Algerian nation is the best mean to stop the humiliation, this insulting behavior of Emmanuel Macron in the whole Africa. Of course, I have to repeat it. The Algerian state is a wrecked one, is a failed one. The Foreign Affairs Department of Algeria, the Algerian diplomacy, is it's more than stupid. It's nil. Because of the weakness of Emmanuel Macron in his country, in his native country, because he is dominated by Germany, all the world knows that the euro is the German money. The euro is the money of Germany. It isn't the money of the European Union. The other countries of the European Union had accepted to be under this domination. That's it. Because of the weakness of France in becoming the leader of peace in the world because of its dependence on the African natural resources. She will put North Africa in a huge blast, in a huge fire, in order to keep his domination. These last months, we are the witnesses of other coups d'etat in Africa. These coups d'etat in Africa are completely led, are completely implemented by the French services, secret services. In the near future, the south of Algeria, the north of Mali, the north of Niger will become a hellfire. So that's why I am begging the Algerian nation to become the leader of North Africa and to try to build new fraternity, new relations with Morocco, and Tunisia, with Mali, with Niger, with Burkina Faso, with Chad, to avoid the human disaster. And Algeria cannot do this. If it's still not reunited inside. And it's easy to reunite the Algerian nation. It's very easy. Just to find an agreement about its majority with a bilingual anthem, as in Canada. It's very easy to reunite the Algerian nation. It's very easy to put Algeria on the new road for development. They have just to work a little bit more seriously. It's easy for Algerian nation to be reunited and to be on the way of the development by having, as in Tunisia, legitimate powership, a powership with its full legitimate side, electoral, popular, and social legitimacies. So, in order to close my words, I beg all the mankind which is acting for peace, for human rights in the world, to be by the side of the Algerian nation, to be by the side of the North African nation, to fight against the fiducide, this money crime, to fight against the dispossessing crime of Emmanuel Macron in North Africa. Thank you so much.